Okay. DJ, drop that beat.
Well, hello, everybody.
Hey, y'all. How y'all doing? I'm great to hear Alabama.
I don't know about you, but I love our studio audience.
Yes, hey, studio audience. Y'all looking good.
I love our studio audience. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Conversations with Hannibal and Jupiter. I am Jupiter.
And I am Hannibal, your wonderful co-host.
Thank you for letting me know that you are my wonderful co-host, and obviously not the other way around. Any little interesting tidbits about the weekend? Your first Monday back,
You know, I'm doing this whole pescatarian thing again.
Right? So. How's that going?
It's going okay. So I was like, okay, I cooked my dad a ribeye steak the other night, right? And I seasoned up real good with this old good seasoning I bought. Oh, had the house smelling, smoke alarms going off, everything. We cooking it like we're in the old Langhorns. So anyway, once it was done, it was smelling so good. I said, well, you know what? It's protein. I don't really have anything that I can't have a little sliver.
You cut a little sliver. With your your dog cutlery? Is that what it is?
Just a little slither with my little Perry knife. Just
like I said, your little dog cutlery. I get it.
And I was like, well, let me wrap it in one of these 0 carb fajita wraps. These fajita wraps with some onions and cilantro and some cucumbers and all this, because I'm gonna make it healthier.
You're gonna mask that. Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And then I ate it and I immediately felt heavy. And I'm not knocking beef. I'm a beef person. Not knocking beef whatsoever. But I was like, she really does affect the body. I instantly felt sleepy. But I also instantly felt like I should not have eaten it. So that was my whole thing. That's all. That's it.
Yeah.
That's my story.
I had a good day today. Real simple. Worked this morning, came home, finished up my little taxes, and now I'm here.
Well, is there anything you want to tell us about why you were not present the other night?
The other night, why was I not present? I think I was probably doing laundry.
Well, I wasn't. No, I think that's what it was. No, it
wasn't laundry. I was doing laundry.
It wasn't laundry. It wasn't. I don't care how much you put your eyes. It wasn't laundry.
I was doing laundry. No. That's what I was doing.
You in the grocery store buying eggs. Don't think it was laundry.
Like I said, I could have been doing that. That probably was after the laundry.
Stop texting me. Stop texting me.
I'm not texting you. Lies and garbage. I am not texting you. I don't know why you have that misconception of me. I feel like I'm being stereotyped by you. But to go into today's topics of misconceptions and stereotypes, let's just talk about some of the biggest and most common misconceptions and stereotypes about Black gay men. Not really sure today what you identify as, so I don't want to say something that I wouldn't, so I'm not supposed to say about you. So, but
today,
if we think about
as he, him, those are my pronouns.
Today I identify as that one, and that's it. That one.
Y'all, I can't with this one. I could not.
I have that one. But if we think about some of the misconceptions or like the words that are ideas and misconceptions of Black men, we can't forget that those things apply to us as gay Black men. So, and I'm like, historically, how white America views us, it changes. It changes, but like the negative connotations, I think a lot of times are added on by our community. So we have all of these things that are going on, but then they add stuff. Meaning, like when you think about, the stereotypes of Black men, they all have large penises. They all have a sexual prowess. They all are dominant. They're passionate. They're confident. They're adventurous. They're horny. They're crude or inappropriate. Those are what people think about Black men. They think we're aggressive and stuff like that, or we're strong to work the fields or whatever. But then there's things that our community puts on us and our Black. So we have all those stereotypes, but then our community puts on we're effeminate, we're weak, we're frivolous. So those are the things that I feel like now get compacted on us. And then people don't realize the burden we carry to say, not only am I Black, but I'm Black and gay. And I have all of these stereotypes about us. Now, we're not going to dissect every stereotype. We know that some of these things are completely wrong, either being in the presence of other Black gay men or talking to other Black gay men. All of these things are not true. They're just stereotypes or misconceptions about our community. And I would say to you, like, what are some of the stereotypes if you've heard about our community? Like, so, like it's from a Southern point of view.
So from a Southern point of view, some of the stereotypes are you're gonna, transform the young men into gay men, Mm-hmm. So we don't want you around our young boys because you're gonna turn them gay. My point of view is, hell, I was around your straight tail and you didn't turn me straight.
Okay. So y'all having workshops,
right? So
conversion workshops. Okay.
Right. So you convert me, I convert you. We get a 1-for-1 here, right?
You said you deal with all this homophobia. I'll just be straight and sit over here. You let me know how this works.
Right. And so another one of the things that I run into a lot here before people realize that I identify as gay is that they see me as a big, broad-shouldered Black guy, and women especially automatically feel as if I'm a threat. My posture, and even some men, they feel I'm a threat. I'm immediately a threat. I remember working in New York, and a lady who's a wonderful friend of mine now, she told me one day on the aircraft, she said, if I ever saw you in a well-lit alley, I would clutch my purse so close to me and walk really fast. I said, I don't know why, honey, because that old cheap Kmart bag you carry wouldn't attract me to it for nothing in the world.
But to me personally, those are stereotypes. But I had a stereotype of like Southerners thinking like you would be what people like, he big bone or he's corn fed. So I just assumed that y'all all just came big. Like everybody had a 10-pound baby. Like I said, I'm from up north. I just had 13. This misconception. See, so
13 pounds when I was born. Thank you.
Right. So you were wearing toddler clothes as a baby. I get it. So that's what I just assumed. So for a woman, so somebody would think that about you, I would think, well, aren't y'all all kind of big? Like,
but then, looking at some of the stereotypes that gay people put on other gay people in the Southern community here is, oh, well, in this rural area, let me focus there, right? In this rural area, you don't see a lot of successful Black gay men in this rural area. Now, we have Black gay men are very successful, but in this rural area, you don't see it. And so one of the stereotypes is you're being bougie, you're acting high class, you're acting sedity, you don't speak like you grew up here, you don't dress like you are from here. And so it's like they're trying to bring you back down to a level where they feel comfortable with you. And you're steady trying to say, hey, boo, come up to this level, So that's one of the stereotypes I get a lot here because I haven't lived here in 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So not being here in 20 years, mean, obviously, I'm not gonna look like I've been here in 20 years. I mean, I do have 2 flannel shirts, if that makes a difference. But
Okay, so you decided you're not going to wear camouflage all day, every day.
no, but you know what? And I pulled out a pair of camouflage pants yesterday, and I was like, oh, I should rock these with this, little outfit I had. Because, I'm going through this whole transformation right now. And so I was like, let me rock this. And I said, no, because see, they ain't going to get this point of view down here. But I step out with this camouflage and this old bright yellow I'm finna put on. They finna say he's working on the highway. He's construction crew.
I know that, like, when I was coming out and growing up, being like in my teens and early 20s in New York, I think I always grew up knowing that I had to be tough in some way. And I knew I wasn't a big kid. So I was like, okay, I got to have a mouth and I got to be ready to fight. And I definitely know how to run if I can't fight this person. So it's like, we got to fight smart, not stupid. So I think that for me, it was always like, because I was smaller, like people would think you were weak and you couldn't fight, or you was always scared of everybody. And I feel like being street smart also helped me a lot with that I was not putting myself in bad situations. Now, things can happen no matter where you are, but it's kind of like, okay, that corner look a little dicey. We're going to cross the street and run into the bodega like I wanted to and come out with a Lucy and whatever. So those are the things that I feel like I phase. But I feel like some of those misconceptions that I had kind of put out there earlier, I do feel like myself personally, when I was around gay Black men, some of those stereotypes were forced on me more than I think than the heterosexual community forced on me.
I definitely think so, because when we're in settings with each other, we sometimes judge each other and make each other feel like you have to be a certain level. You're a business owner like I am. And sometimes when you're sitting in a room with other business owners, it's like, well, let me one up you with my business. I'll one up you with my, you know what I mean?
If you do any of those networking things, oh yes, it is so weird. You're just like, girl, if you're making all this money, how you get to sit here with us?
I'm like, child, you got 3 cookies on the shelf in your bakery that you run out of your garage. And you talking about you are the cookie manufacturer of the year in your neighborhood. Stop. We all here because our businesses are struggling like each other. And that's like, I don't, but you know what I mean? They're putting that pressure on you. And then as a Black gay business owner, sometimes the stereotype is, oh, well, I don't want to use him because he's going to be so feminine when he comes in. He's going to sashay and he's going to do this and he's going to do that. I'm here for the money. Now, if you want that sashay, baby, I give it to you. I'll come in here and run you a purple carpet down the center room, and I give you a good RuPaul run.
I noticed for myself,
this is what you're looking for. This is what you get to.
Mm-hmm. Like I noticed for myself in professional settings, I realized a long time ago that women had a certain kind of je ne sais quoi when it came to the field that I'm in. Like it's predominantly women. A lot of times it's middle-aged white women. And I realized that when I became a parent and I kept giving those stories, people looked at me different. I noticed that before I became a parent, a lot of times when I would meet clients, if they want to have a little chitter-chatter and have conversations with you or whatever, I would always talk about like my travels. I've gone somewhere. I would ask them, where did you go? Stuff like that. The minute I became a parent, because I was deflecting from that because I didn't want you to think I was some flaming queen, and there's nothing wrong with flaming queens. We're not saying that. But no, I didn't want people to just see that about me. I wanted them to see my work, realize I was trying to run a business, and that my sexuality was not on stage. Then when I became a parent, I realized having those conversations with clients pulled me in a different avenue. But once again, my sexuality was not on stage. It was about the business, but I was finding a common thread to talk to them about. So when you go to somebody's house during the holidays, are the kids coming? And they're like, oh, what's your son doing? What does he want for Christmas? Like, so you have those conversations with people. So I realized that in a lot of settings, you realize this is what you can do. But I also realized I was also doing that when I was around white people to soften them up, to break the stereotype of me being this angry Black man. So angry Black men don't travel so much. We think they just stay in the house or they little project bunnies and that's it. You're not saying, oh, angry Black men don't just go to Amsterdam and do things like that. So I was always telling those stories. Then it's like, hey, I'm adoptive parent. Angry Black men don't just become adoptive parents by themselves. So I was always trying to find a way to just push those stereotypes in a straight setting. But in a gay setting, I realized being myself, it was like, okay, I had to become hyper masculine because that stereotype that I was going to be feminine. And then people would think, oh, well, if you're a certain endowment, then you're going to be like this. And then if you're, you act like this, you're going to be. And so you are constantly butting heads with all of these stereotypes that you say, okay, I just had to deal with this nonsense. And it was easy. Like sometimes it's easy to appeal straight people or heterosexuals with stereotypes than it is our own people. Yes. Because it's like, girl, I don't believe it.
Because, like living in New York, you get a little bit of everybody. Excuse me, taking these glasses off. Something is up with the lens on them tonight. I just don't know what's going on with them. But anyway.
I like those hazel contacts.
Anyway, you get so many people. And I used to be like, okay, so when I hang out with my friends, I can really be around my friends, but I like to play cards, I like to play spades. I like to play bid, I like to play tump and stuff like that. So I will always get myself caught up in Brooklyn somewhere at a card party. And now you're playing cards with the trade. Mm-hmm. So now you got to come in and you got to fit their stereotype. So now I got to, butch it up real bad. I need to come in with, some Black and Miles. I need to walk in the house with the bottle of Hennessy. Yo, what's up? What's up, y'all? Yeah, what's up? Dap it up. Yo. Child, that's not me. And then when I see you on the street, now I got to get back into this character again, because I've got to meet your stereotype for me, Now, facing stereotypes in the Black heterosexual community is also a weird thing as a Black gay man in the Deep South here. I feel like being here, I have to fight just to let Black straight men know I am yet still a man. Like, don't add another gender to me.
Right.
I am still a man. These hands still work. Like don't.
And you're like, and I'm just not doing a windmill like Shanae. Like, no, we're not doing that.
Well, I'm not windmilling. I know how, but that's not where we're going. We're gonna go another route. But I find that when you're dealing with heterosexual men here in the Deep South, they automatically some automatically feel that you are going to be effeminate. You're going to be just over the top, feminine and everything. And there's nothing wrong with being feminine, but it's looked down on. It's like a classism thing. You're put in a lower class. You're not a man, and I've been told that. Here recently, we've had off conversations about it. I've been told that here recently, like, you're not a man, you're not this, you're not that, by people whom I respected. And it's like, so you're stereotyping me because I'm a man who is attracted to men and calling me less of a man because of that. You know nothing about me. You know absolutely nothing about me. And we're judging people on that. We're sticking these stereotypes on them. We want you to be the flower planting queen of the year just because you say, hey, I'm a gay man. And now all of a sudden we think you're supposed to plant the community flower bed. All gay men don't do that. And some of these stereotypes are placed on us like that in the Deep South.
And even being in metropolitan cities as well, I think that somebody who was coming from another place, maybe the Deep South or a smaller state or smaller city, you go to a big city like New York, then you feel like you have to be a different person because now I don't want to stick out like a sore thumb. So now I have the stereotype of trying to act like something else within a community that knows that I'm not from here, that's also judging me on every little nuance of my life. And people don't realize that, like, this happens a lot. Like, it's almost like the minute you walk in a bar and you notice everybody just look, okay, boom, the stereotypes already started. You know, you're new to a city and you go to a new bar, boom. Like the minute you open the door. So as much as we go, oh, we need straight people to accept us. No, we need to accept us.
Right. Accept me first, and we'll deal with the heterosexual community after that. I just need the people who marching beside me in the parade.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with that level of acceptance on all levels, you know, and especially when you look at the trans community. I mean, there are gay men who do not accept trans, and they're very disrespectful towards the trans community. And that is something I just don't understand, because when you look across the history of the LGBTQIA plus community, you will see that trans people are always generally the ones who are leading the fight. They're generally the ones who get tired and say, hey, enough is enough, you know, and they start the rally. So the LGBTQIA plus community should always look out for the trans community and protect them, because these are the people who are going to most likely lead your next riot. You know, and I'm not saying we should be rioting, but
we're not condoning
right. We're not saying that. I'm just saying in general, these are the people
peaceful demonstrations.
Right. These are the people who start your next peaceful demonstration of their First Amendment rights to show that they can speak and whatever, the right to assemble, whatever it is, Chad. You know what I'm talking about.
But I had spoken to some trans women before, and they said that a lot of times they get the most disrespect. It seemed like first was gay men, and then second was straight women. So it would be a situation, and they said it was the same verbiage usually. Like a gay man would be like, "Excuse me, sir," and they're like, "I have nails, I have, you know, a long weave, I'm in women's clothes," and a gay man will say the same thing a straight woman would say, would be, "Excuse me, sir. Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize." And she's like, why would y'all think that would be okay to say? Like, you know, I'm a trans woman. Like, it's like, we get it. So why would you think the disrespect is to remind me that I was born biologically a man? And then be like, oh, I didn't know. Sorry, no disrespect. I didn't mean no disrespect, but you were disrespectful. You know, it's like,
exactly.
Come on. So I think the other part of these stereotypes, sometimes we have to admit that we actually sometimes use them for our favor.
We do. We absolutely do. Absolutely do.
I know I have used my certain stereotypes about Black gay men for my favor. I've known that sometimes I've kind of camped it up and found that it kind of soothed the savage beast of sometimes Black women, sometimes West Indian women, not all the time, but sometimes it can kind of soothe the savage beats when, you know, you kind of give them a honey girlfriend, and then it's always like, oh, okay, they nice, and, you know, you get a couple of extra fried shrimp with your little shrimp basket, or, you know, they give you the nice little like they give you the nice shopping bag when you go to Macy's, not the plastic one. And so it's just so I know I've used, I would say, gay privilege. I'll call it that. I've used gay privilege sometimes, or those stereotypes.
I have, and I'll go in there and I'll tell Boquita real quick, girl, that's a nice old weave there, baby. I like her. Girl, who did your nails? Who did your Janquisha? Give me her number. She got to put me some nails on here this evening. Yeah, oh my God, they not. Did she miss the fourth one on purpose? Right. Like,
and then you're like, and did you get your toes done too? Are the same color? Oh, and she do your feet too? Ooh.
And you mean she took your second toe from on top of your third toe and made them
and put rhinestones on it too? Oh, I ain't ready. Because usually the rhinestones like slice up your stockings. I ain't know that. So that works. So yeah, I have used certain stereotypes that I know if somebody had said something to me, I would have not liked it myself. But I've realized in certain circumstances, you have to adapt to where you are. And you just really kind of go from there. But I think the other question is, how do we fix this? Or can it even be fixed?
Education. We have to start educating our community. We as Black gay men are not spending enough time educating younger Black gay men on where we came from. why we are proud and why Black gay men got money. That we just haven't spent the time to educate them on those things, to talk to them about how hard the fight was. You know, you and I know 30 years ago, none of 20 years ago, none of these privileges these kids had. We were still sliding cars at the mall.
It's interesting because what you said earlier about the trans women, 20, 30 years ago, the only people who were walking down a block with purses and nails, were trans women.
And nobody was knocking them upside the head because they knew they would throw hands back.
Right. But what we did not see was a whole bunch of Black gay men walking around, or ethnic men walking around with nails and purses 20 years ago. It wasn't happening. Wasn't doing it. It was the trans sisters that were out there taking knocks to the head so that you can now do this, and then you can turn around and disrespect them and say, "Excuse me, sir."
Right.
It's like, come on.
And like my thing is at this point, I am an elder in the community, and so I'd like for you to say,
the fuck that makes me a relic? Like, seriously?
An archangel or something. I don't know. As an elder of the community, a self-appointed elder of the community.
Thank you, Dr. Mahalia Johnson Jackson the Sixth.
Yes, I became an elder today of the community. I would just want to say, like, these young people need to understand the struggles that was gone through. I remember 20 years ago, you guys went to Jackson last year for their 20th, right?
I remember.
For the 20th anniversary, I believe it was, a 19th anniversary, something like that. Yeah, 19, because it was the year my mother passed. We set up their Black Gay Pride. And I remember marching in that parade, and we only had one lane of traffic, to march in as cars drove by in the next lane. But
they said, y'all not stopping the show. Y'all not stopping the show.
We were strong and we were resilient, and we proved a point to Mississippi that you were not going to force us out. And we came in Jackson and we put our Black gay dollars on the table, and we let them people know who the hell we were. Matter of fact, there was a bunch of us that spent $2 bills when we were there. And we came with a lot of $2 bills because people knew when we put that $2 bill down who we were. So we're letting you know this is our calling card, that you were patronized by Black gay people this weekend. Take that as a note. And I think the young people need to understand that, like, what we went through, like some of those early gay pride parades in the early 2000s, late 90s, child, they were rough. You didn't have
those, or even if you were in larger cities, a lot of those gay prides were not for people of color. So you could be like, we all know that there is like historical, systematic racism in the gay community in San Francisco, like to this day.
In Atlanta.
Right, yeah. So just because you were in a big city and there was a parade, they didn't want you there either.
Exactly.
It wasn't for you. I remember back in the day, ACT UP and all of those activist groups were not for us.
Yes.
They use you for something, but they were not for you. You were not a spokesperson. You couldn't be at the front of the line. You were not at a podium. They didn't want you there. So it is interesting how the misconception also is that we're all cool with each other.
Yep.
Like, I think heterosexuals think that we all cool with each other, we all love each other, and we just getting along. And we all know there's a lot of gay men that don't want to be around lesbians, or they don't want to be around us, and we can't go in their bars. But there are a lot of gay bars that Black men cannot go to, and they should not be in, and you are not going to be welcome, and they don't want $1, $2, $100 from you. They want you gone.
Right. And and I'm not talking about different cities. I'm gonna start here and then I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna start when I lived out on the West Coast in Anchorage, Alaska, which is where I truly kind of came out at. And I remember there, lesbians and gays, blacks and whites and natives, everybody, we partied together. So I had a false sense of what the community was because we partied together, we had fun together and everything. Now there's a small group of black gay men that pulled us to the side and gave us knowledge and gave us nurturing and just kind of gave us some things that the younger ones that we didn't get from that group, because they knew you would be leaving Alaska at some point, so you kind of need this extra.
Mm-hmm.
But when I came down to Southern California, I got my first hit of the gay world, and I was like, I went to West Hollywood, and I'm like, and even now when I go to West Hollywood, I'm like, I don't have fun up here. You need to take me down to the Catch, baby. Take me down to Catch. Take me down Pico. Take me down to Inglewood. Take me down to the Annex, honey. That was my spot, and that was because I was used to being around diversity, in Alaska, and Los Angeles was such a big city, but the clubs were not diverse. And even now, when I go to Los Angeles to visit my brother, their gay clubs are not diverse. You don't have a big mix of everybody. You got your teeny boppers here. And then when I want to go and do me and do a little hood thing, I got to go way across town, to get to see some people of color. And it's not cool because I don't feel welcomed in West Hollywood. Never did. So that's all.
And it's a reality. Like you said, they don't play your music. That's the easiest way to get me to go somewhere. It's kind of like, if you don't have my drink and there's nothing for me to do but just stand here and look at people, there's no need for me to be here. So message received.
It ain't nobody speaking to you.
Right. Nobody talking to
nobody
you. Message received. I get it, y'all waiting for me to leave, and I have decided I'm going to go. I don't think that this is my, Sojourner Truth movement where I need to stay here and say, I'm going to integrate this black gay bar. This white gay bar. That is not my storyline. I am not going to integrate your bars. No.
Keep it.
And that kind of attitude and sense of community you talked about, I remember I experienced that a lot when I was in college in Buffalo, New York. You had people who were from Canada and all those little small towns around there, but it was just like you said, it was a very large Native American community there as well. And so you had these little pockets of people in the same place getting along. So it was nothing to be around blacks, lesbians, gays, transsexuals, Native Americans, Hispanics, all in one place because we didn't have a whole lot of bars to go to.
Exactly.
And the drinks were, I don't know, we were getting along because the drinks were cheaper, and I don't know, we were drinking so much, I don't know, but it was a different type of sense community in a small town gay bar than I remember going to Miami. I think it was like maybe 2 years ago, and just thinking, this gay bar is terrible. And I am not enjoying myself. And I know a lot of straight people love going to Miami and they just party. And I'm just like, this wasn't it. But
it wasn't it for me either.
Take me to the bar in Fort Lauderdale and I had a much better time. So
I only had a good time at one bar in Fort Lauderdale. Well, but there's a people of color bar on Sunday nights in Fort Lauderdale.
Yes.
But I only had a good time at one bar because even going to our bar,
the Haunts
there, our bar, the Bird. It.
We're rolling. Keep it up. Yeah, you got the birds, you got the puppy. Yeah, it's a lot of them. Yeah,
it's that thing, y'all. Ooh, I'm country.
Yeah, we know. We're gonna take a sip on being country. Yes,
going to our bar, I still didn't feel comfortable there. And there was a whole mass of us there. I didn't feel comfortable because the stereotype was, here's my BBC walking in the door, oh, look at what y'all bought me. I'm the big prize tonight. Look at what I get for Christmas in September or Christmas in October.
Mm-hmm.
Touch me if you want to.
Right. Because that's the thing too. It's like the stereotype, like I said, of us all getting along. No, white privilege works in the gay community as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we could go. There could be a totally another episode of that. Like, we really cannot expect that. We can't act like you can't mirror America to our community as well.
Right.
You can't do that. It's clearly there. There's no more, no less to it. It's there. And whether we want to believe it or fall for it, or they want to act like it doesn't exist, it does. It really does. And that's just a reality that we can't get past.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm.
Yep.
And it's crazy. So, in closing, it has to be one of those situations where each one teach one. Like, I know I don't really know how to sometimes gauge young gay men today. Sometimes I don't know if the verbiage is the same. I'm learning how to communicate better with a teenager being a parent now, and some of the things that are said to me and I see are kind of like, okay, it's like, all right, whatever. But I think it's also a situation where we have to learn what we're trying to tell them and make sure that we have a very clear, concise idea about it, and one we're coming from a good place. Don't come at young gay Black men with this kind of predatory behavior like, hey, little boy, you want some candy? And I'm going to teach you a little bit, but I'm going to play grab hand on the side. Like, we have to genuinely walk into this saying, this is what I think you guys would like to learn. And these are why these things are important to us. And this is how I get to be 45 in this community. And this is how you could be 45 in this community and it don't look the same. Like, it just don't.
Baby, it's some rough 45s out there. I saw one the other day. It was actually a 35. And when this person told me they was 35, I said, baby, gravity played a horrible trick on you, honey. Gravity did not do you well, baby. You look bad.
But it's one of those things that I think when we first come out, nobody really explains what's the next step. But systematically, we're taught that the next step is you come out of the closet and you go to the bar.
You go to the bar and you drink and you drink and you drink.
Yeah, nobody ever tells you to leave the bar, not to go home and come back tomorrow, but nobody ever tells you when to leave the bar. Like, I want to get a job and I want to be a police officer. Leave the bar so you can pass this test and you can get up in the morning. So I think that's kind of like the start of it, understanding that, yes, stereotypes are out there. Some of us, like I said, have used them for our advantage. And some of us realize that those stereotypes really are stifling, especially when it comes from us. It is very stifling.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So my closing thought is, I think the way I know this is like Jerry's closing thought.
I know. I'm gonna let you do that. Maybe this is our new thing for the show. Maybe the new thing for the show is Hannibal's closing thoughts.
So my closing thought is that we educate the younger generations. I find myself just finding it easier to just go up to them and start the conversation. A listening ear is a listening ear. And some of the younger people are sometimes intimidated by us, so we have to start the conversation and say, hey, this is where we've come from. And this is what we have gone through to get here. And we would hate to see you have to repeat it. So here's some tips. And just have that conversation and leave the door open. But like you said, we cannot do it in a predatory manner. We have to be genuine with what our wants and our needs are, and what we're saying to them is from a love and respect basis and not from a predator's basis. So that's all I got for you all. Have a happy day.
Exactly.
Basic bitches wear that shit, so I don't even bother. Basic bitches wear that shit, so I don't even bother. I put that on my partner, I put that on my family. Open city represent just the edge of majesty.
That felt good. I enjoyed
We are
that.
still live.
No,